You close your eyes and drift inward, gently leaving behind the world of walls, air, and daylight. The silence deepens, and your awareness begins to travel, not outward, but inward, toward the hidden life within you. You pass your breath, the slow rise and fall of your chest. You pass your heartbeat, that ancient rhythm that has carried you since before memory. And beneath that, deeper still, something stirs, not you, and yet entirely you. There is movement, microscopic, soft, constant, an invisible forest alive, with motion, soundless but vibrant, each leaf a cell, each branch a colony. You are entering the garden within. The air here is not air, it is chemistry. Tiny signals move like breezes, molecules carrying messages from one life form to another. There are trillions of them, your quiet companions, your microbes. You imagine them as stars, scattered across the dark of your inner space, forming constellations of meaning. Some gather in the vast galaxy of your gut. Others dwell on your skin, in the humid caves of your lungs, in the moist forests of your mouth. They are everywhere, and they have been with you since your first breath. This is no invasion. It is a partnership older than memory, a gentle alliance between human and microbe that began long before humans had names. The scene around you shimmers into detail. You see rolling landscapes, shimmering rivers of digestive enzymes, soft plains of tissue pulsing with life. Between them, countless microorganisms move like drifting pollen, exploring, feeding, exchanging, creating balance. If you could listen closely, you would hear them humming. Each hum a task, each rhythm a purpose. Here, one bacterium breaks down a strand of fiber, turning it into short-chain fatty acids that feed the cells lining your gut. Another releases molecules that quiet inflammation, soothing your immune system like a friend laying a gentle hand on your shoulder. A third communicates with your nerves, whispering to the brain that all is well, that peace reigns inside the body tonight. This harmony is fragile, yet ancient. Every breath you take, every bite you eat, every emotion you feel, all of it shapes this invisible world. You begin to realize something profound. You are not alone inside yourself. When you were born, your first breath was not just oxygen. It was the start of a symphony as you passed through your mother's body. You were gifted the first seeds of this garden, her microbes, her invisible touch. They colonized your skin, your mouth, your tiny intestines. They taught your immune system the difference between friend and foe. They trained your body to live with the world rather than fight against it. You were never one life. You were always many, moving in harmony. Even now, as you rest, they work in silence. They digest, regulate, protect, repair. They create vitamins, balance acids, modulate energy. Each function happens quietly, without asking for acknowledgement. The world inside you is not made of competition, but of cooperation. You walk through the landscape of your inner self, noticing its balance. The ground here, your tissue is soft and warm. Nutrients flow like rivers. Oxygen drifts like mist. And above it all, your microbiome thrives, adjusting to the rhythm of your days and nights. When you eat, it celebrates. When you fast, it adapts. When you stress, it trembles. But it tries to hold its form. This is resilience, written in molecules. Each species knows its place. In your mouth, microbes protect enamel and balance acidity. In your gut, they ferment fibers into energy and release messengers that talk to your immune system. On your skin, they form a shield, a living barrier that teaches your cells how to discern the world's touch. You are host and habitat, symphony and conductor, all at once. You pause and realize how much of you is shared. For every human cell, there are nearly as many microbial companions, perhaps more. Their genes outnumber yours by 100-fold. If you were to define yourself by DNA alone, you would find that most of you isn't human at all, and yet it feels peaceful. It feels right. These companions are not strangers. They are part of your story, the quiet authors behind your health, mood, and survival. Without them, your immune system would lash out blindly. Your digestion would falter. Your mental clarity would fade. With them, everything hums in quiet harmony. The garden flourishes. You move deeper into this living garden, following the warmth. The air becomes thicker, more fragrant with chemical conversation. Here, molecules drift like invisible petals, signals between species, between cells, between you and the rest of life. You sense the flow of short-chain fatty acids, propionate, butyrate, rising like tiny lanterns. They are created from the food you eat, but not by you, by your microbial guests. These molecules feed your colon cells, calm inflammation, and even affect your brain, reminding it to rest, to feel safe. In this way, your microbes are gardeners of your peace. They cultivate not just your body, but your mind. You touch the soil of this invisible landscape, warm, alive, textured with complexity. You realize it is your gut lining, only a single cell layer thick, yet protecting an entire universe behind it. Your microbes live just beyond this fragile barrier, helping to defend it. When they are nourished, the wall stays strong. When they are neglected, the wall weakens and confusion enters. Balance, you understand, is the first law of this world. Every nutrient, every emotion, every breath affects the garden's rhythm. Your thoughts to ripple through it. Stress sends hormonal winds that alter the soil. Sleep soothes it, restoring the delicate harmony between you and your companions. The boundary between mind and microbiome begins to blur. You rest for a moment beneath the vast, dark canopy of your internal ecosystem. Around you, life moves in slow, steady choreography. Each microbe acts with purpose, but none seeks control. This is the wisdom of the unseen, coexistence without ego. You begin to see how evolution wrote this story not as a hierarchy, but as a network. From the dawn of life, single-celled beings learned that connection was survival. They merged, collaborated, exchanged genes and energy, until one day they became multicellular organisms, ancestors of you. You are their continuation. Your body is a living proof of that ancient truth that cooperation creates. Complexity, the garden within you, is not separate from the natural world. It is the same principle, folded inward, a miniature earth inside your skin. As you breathe, you feel gratitude rise like a gentle tide. You imagine light moving through your body, sunlight transformed into nutrients, transformed again by microbes into life. It all flows together in one endless cycle. You realize the microbiome is not a curiosity of science. It is the foundation of being alive in harmony. It reminds you that wholeness is not isolation, but relationship. you are never alone, because your every cell sings with others. The microbes are not passengers. They are co-authors of your existence. Their music is the sound of balance, the song of survival, sung softly, endlessly, within you. You stand now at the edge of this garden, feeling its quiet power. You sense how it sustains your health, mood, and even thought. You sense how food, rest, and kindness ripple through it like sunlight through leaves, and as you listen one last time to its hum, you feel something shift, a question, gentle but insistent, rising from the soil of your awareness. If this garden within you thrives through harmony, what other symphonies of life might be singing quietly in the spaces you have yet to explore? The thought drifts through you like wind through tall grass, and as it fades, you feel the pull, gentle, curious, toward the next whisper of life, toward the trillion voices waiting in harmony beyond this garden's edge. The stillness hums. From the soil of your inner garden, a soft vibration rises, a chorus without melody, a music without sound. It is the hum of a trillion tiny lives, all speaking at once, all shaping the symphony that is you. You listen, and for the first time, you can almost hear them, not as noise, but as pattern, not as chaos, but as connection. The microbes, those unseen architects of life, are not separate notes in your body's orchestra. They are the rhythm itself. Imagine their number, 1,000,000,000,000 voices, each one smaller than a dust mote, yet together outweighing your brain. They live in colonies so dense that a single gram of your gut content holds more life than there are stars in the Milky Way. Each one is a micro-engineer, crafting molecules that guide your body's moods, your hunger, your sleep. They speak in chemistry, not language, but understanding. When one community thrives, it sends signals that ripple through blood and nerve, reaching places no conscious thought can touch. When balance is disturbed, their music falters, and the whole body feels it. This is not just biology. It is communication woven into existence. You drift deeper into the soundscape of your inner world. Here, chemical messengers flow like rivers of light. Dopamine, serotonin, GABA molecules, often credited to the brain, are partly born here, in the microbial symphony of your gut. They travel upward along the vagus nerve, the golden thread connecting your organs to your emotions. Through this pathway, your microbes speak to your brain. Their voice is subtle, ancient, and patient. They remind your nervous system when to calm, when to digest, when to rest. They shape your dreams as you sleep and your resilience as you wake. They are your invisible guardians of peace in this slow communion. You begin to perceive the gut-brain axis, not as a line, but as a conversation. Every emotion you feel ripples downward, altering the microbial world. Every signal from that world ripples upward, changing your thoughts. The two are inseparable, like tide and moon, cause and echo. When you feel calm, your microbes hum softly, producing serotonin and butyrate, those molecules of serenity. When you are anxious, they sense the storm, shifting their metabolism, sending out quiet distress calls. The harmony falters until peace returns. This living dialogue never stops. Even now, as you rest, it flows a silent, ceaseless conversation between mind and matter. You sense individual voices within this harmony. There are the bifidobacteria, ancient and wise, who help digest complex fibers and keep inflammation at bay. They are the gentle elders of the microbiome, slow, sturdy, nurturing. Then come the lactobacilli, bright and busy, transforming sugars into lactic acid, keeping your inner garden slightly acidic, just enough to protect against intruders. They are the caretakers, the daily gardeners of your system. Around them swirl others, Faecalibacterium, Prausnetzi, producing anti-inflammatory compounds like secret peace treaties. Akkermansia, Mucinophila, cleaning and restoring the gut lining, ensuring that the boundary between self and other remains sacred and intact. Each one has a task. Each one contributes to the collective equilibrium that allows you to live, think, and dream. They do not compete, they collaborate. Even their waste becomes food for another, forming loops of endless recycling, a perfect economy of life. You drift further into their world, and it becomes clear. This is what intelligence looks like without a brain. Every microbe senses, decides, and adapts. When oxygen fades, they switch metabolism. When sugar floods in, they feast, divide, then rest. They respond to temperature, acidity, vibration, every fluctuation in the body's internal weather. And when one species grows too strong, others rise to balance it, ensuring no single voice drowns out the rest. It is democracy at a molecular level, a billion negotiations every second, producing peace through constant change. This is how your body stays alive. Through consensus, not control. Through harmony, not dominance. You realize this same principle echoes through the universe. Stars form clusters, galaxies orbit each other, ecosystems bloom and decay, always in cycles of balance. Your body is no different. It is a galaxy of life, orbiting around a shared purpose to sustain being. In this realization, your sense of I softens. You are no longer a single observer, but a field of awareness spread across countless forms. You are the sum of their cooperation. The feeling of you is the resonance of 1,000,000,000,000 tiny lives agreeing, for a moment, to live together in peace. As your awareness drifts upward again, you pass through the luminous corridors of your bloodstream. You see molecules moving, some crafted by microbes, some by your cells. They travel like messengers through the quiet architecture of the body. Your immune system listens. It senses microbial signals and learns. Friendly bacteria send messages that say, "Stand down. We are allies." Pathogens send the opposite. "Prepare. Danger comes." Your immune cells respond not with blind aggression, but with discernment learned over millions of years of coexistence. Without microbes, this wisdom would not exist. You understand now, your health is not the absence of others, but a treaty with them. A memory stirs not your own, but something older. The memory of Earth herself, when life was still microscopic. When all that existed were single cells drifting in the primordial sea. They learned to share, to trade energy and genes. Some joined together, creating the first multicellular organisms. From that union, consciousness began to flicker. Every human being carries that ancient memory in their biology. Your microbial allies are reminders of the ocean that birthed you, the chemistry that dreamed you into form. The body, you realize, is an echo of the sea, still alive within you. Every heartbeat is a wave. Every microbial hum a tide. You pause in awe. What was once invisible now feels immense. The microbiome is not a collection of parts, but a system of belonging, a living mirror of the larger cosmos. When you nourish it, you participate in an act of cosmic balance. When you breathe deeply, eat slowly, rest fully, you are not just taking care of yourself. You are tending to the choir that sustains your being. Health, you realize, is not a battle to be won. It is a relationship to be honored. In the distance, you see something shimmering, a vast network of light connecting gut to brain, brain to heart, heart to every cell. This network pulses with color, reflecting emotion, thought, and chemistry. Each light flicker is a signal from one world to another, carrying meaning beyond words. You understand now that your consciousness is not confined to your skull. It extends through your body, through your microbes, through your chemistry, a distributed awareness shaped by cooperation. Perhaps consciousness itself is a form of harmony, the music that arises when many systems agree to sing the same song. You breathe in slowly, feeling gratitude ripple through you. You sense how every act of care, a balanced meal, a night of rest, a moment of laughter, is not isolated. It resonates through your inner garden, through the trillion voices that sustain it. You are a community disguised as one being. You are not the conductor, but the composition itself. And every heartbeat is the universe playing through you. The sound fades to a whisper, the hum returning to silence. You feel yourself rising again through the layers of awareness, the microbial cosmos receding like stars behind fog. But the lesson remains. You are the harmony you seek. And as you drift toward the next space of understanding, a new curiosity awakens, gentle and bright. If harmony is intelligence, what deeper form of consciousness might emerge when all of life, not just within you, but across the planet, begins to listen together? The question echoes softly, pulling you onward toward the next chapter, the memory of the earth. The world breathes beneath you. You feel it now, not as wind or weather, but as a pulse, slow and deep, echoing through soil, water, and stone. It is the same rhythm you felt within your own body, the same hum of quiet cooperation. You are not leaving yourself behind. You are expanding, dissolving gently into the living memory of the earth. The soil is the first to greet you. It opens like a dark sea, its scent rich and ancient. Each particle is a world. Within it, invisible civilizations bloom, bacteria, fungi, archaea. They whisper together, passing nutrients, light, and messages. They build bridges of exchange, not for conquest, but for balance. When a tree reaches its roots into the ground, it does not grow alone. It sends signals, sugars, and songs through these networks. And in return, the microbes answer, offering minerals, protection, companionship. It is not ownership, but conversation. You listen closely. The soil is alive with stories. Every grain holds the memory of rain, the trace of every leaf that ever fell. Every droplet that touches the earth carries echoes of ancient seas. This is where time softens, not as seconds or centuries, but as layers of life continuing one another. You drift through the soil's dim light, where roots move like slow lightning and fungi spread in glowing threads. the mycorrhizal networks, the wood wide web. They connect tree to tree, forest to forest, a communion of generosity and awareness. When one tree sickens, others send aid through the threads. When sunlight floods one canopy, the energy flows downward and outward, shared through the underground web. The earth remembers through these threads, not in words, but in nutrient and intention. You sense it, a collective wisdom, a patient intelligence. No single root, no single spore claims ownership. Every life form contributes to a living memory that stretches from mountain to marsh, from desert to sea. It is an old, old language, older than blood, older than thought. A language of exchange, of balance, of return. Now the rain begins. You feel it touch your skin, soft, cool, cleansing. Each droplet holds a story, a journey across clouds and continents. Rain carries microbes to the aerial plankton that float unseen. When they fall, they awaken soil, trigger seeds, and whisper the code for renewal. You remember, inside you, the same rain of chemicals, of messages, falls between your cells. It seems everything that lives follows the same design. Networks within networks, memory within flow. The planet's surface glows faintly beneath the rain, as if it too exhales. Each storm is the earth refreshing its own breath. Each droplet a reminder that life circulates, never lost, only transformed. Now you descend into water. The ocean receives you like a mother, vast, weightless, silent. You drift downward through layers of light. Here, too, the earth remembers. For billions of years, the ocean has been the cradle of life's first experiment. Cyanobacteria, tiny blue-green cells, once filled these waters, exhaling oxygen, changing the sky. They are still here, floating beneath the waves, glowing softly like stars that never left home. Each one is a memory of the beginning, the breath that made breath possible. You realize that every inhalation you take is a gift written by these ancient artists of air. They still paint the atmosphere with invisible strokes of photosynthesis, still release the oxygen that feeds both forest and flesh. Their presence binds every creature that breathes to the same story, the story of the sea. You float among them now. Their glow is gentle, steady. They seem to recognize you, not as stranger, but as descendant. They pulse softly in greeting, as if to say, "You are the continuation of our dream." Below them, the ocean floor stretches like the Earth's oldest memory. Hydrothermal vents release columns of heat, shimmering with minerals. Around them, life gathers, strange, radiant, fearless. Microbes here do not depend on sunlight, but feed on chemical energy from the planet's core. They are keepers of the dark memory, proof that even in silence and pressure, life finds a rhythm. Their existence whispers that creation never ceased. It only adapted, finding new ways to remember itself. You watch them shimmer in the heat, and it feels like watching thought form itself out of matter. It feels like the planet thinking. You rise slowly again, drifting upward through warmth and current. On the surface, waves roll like breathing, steady and infinite. You notice how their motion mirrors the pulse of your arteries, the rise and fall of your chest. The ocean's rhythm is your rhythm. You have never truly been apart, and the air above carries the same continuity, invisible threads of microbial life. suspended in motion, migrating across hemispheres. They travel on wind currents, unseen passengers of the sky, shaping clouds, seeding rain, exchanging DNA across the planet's great lungs. The atmosphere itself is alive, and you, breathing, are part of that breath. The Earth's memory flows not only through space, but through cycles of water, carbon, nitrogen, energy. These cycles are not mechanical, they are musical. Every element is passed from one form to another in harmony. Your body borrows atoms from air and soil, only to return them when your time is done. The Earth does not forget them. It keeps everything, every molecule, every echo, and turns it into new beginnings. You begin to understand that death is not erasure. It is continuity. The soil's microbes know this. The forests know. Even your own body, through its inner symbiont, rehearses this lesson daily, creating, breaking down, creating again. Life's permanence lies not in staying the same, but in remembering how to begin again. As you drift through this realization, you start to sense the Earth's memory as a single field of awareness, subtle but vast. It is not conscious like your mind, but it feels, it responds, it remembers. When forests fall, the balance shifts. When oceans heal, the pattern strengthens. And within you, those same patterns echo in miniature. You and the Earth share not just elements, but intelligence. You are both shaped by relationship, by countless invisible negotiations. Between life and life, you are both storytellers now. Somewhere between soil and sky, you begin to feel a strange, familiar warmth, the pulse of sunlight filtered through leaves. Each photon that touches the ground, each particle of light absorbed by chlorophyll, becomes part of a universal act of memory. Photosynthesis, the oldest ritual of transformation, continues in silence. It turns light into life, possibility into presence. It does not ask to be seen. It only gives endlessly, without expectation. The plants remember the light. The soil remembers the roots. The air remembers the breath. And you, a child of all three, carry those memories in your cells. You float above the planet now, in quiet orbit. From here, Earth glows softly, blue, green, white. It looks alive, breathing, whole. But you can see the deeper truth. It is not one organism, nor many, but both, a collaboration so complete that boundaries dissolve. The oceans, forests, clouds, microbes, all are notes in a single song, and you are one of them. Your heartbeat joins the rhythm. Your breath joins the wind. You realize now that you are not remembering the Earth. The Earth is remembering through you. Every thought, every kindness, every cell that divides within you, all of it is part of the planet's ongoing act of self-awareness. You are not a visitor here. You are a continuation of Earth's dream of life. The world quiets around you. The soil sighs. The oceans glow faintly in the distance, as if reflecting your inner calm. And as you drift in that soft light, you sense a new kind of curiosity forming, gentle and luminous. If the Earth remembers through us, what does it mean to listen back, to become conscious of the consciousness that created us? The thought lingers, like a single drop of rain resting on a leaf, holding the reflection of the sky, inviting you onward toward the next chapter, listening to the invisible. You begin with silence. not the silence of emptiness, but of presence, the kind that hums beneath all motion. It wraps around you like soft air, like the pause before dawn. In it, every heartbeat seems louder, every breath more deliberate. You are not alone in this stillness. There are others here, countless, unseen, surrounding and within you. The invisible world waits, patient and attentive, whispering in languages older than sound. You listen. At first, there is nothing. Only your breath, a tide moving in and out. Then, slowly, the silence begins to open. You start to feel small sensations, faint vibrations, tingles beneath your skin, pulses behind thought. They come not from outside, but from deep within. This is how the invisible speaks, through the rhythm of being. The microbes in your body hum softly, each one vibrating in tune with its neighbors. Every vibration is a signal, not random, not noise, but coordination, cooperation. Together, they form a living network of quiet communication. They do not shout, they resonate. They send molecules the way you send words, shaping your chemistry as gently as waves shape sand. And in their resonance, your body listens, adjusting, responding, balancing. You are part of the conversation even when you do not speak. You realize now that listening is not only with ears, it is with skin, with lungs, with the delicate sensors in every cell. You feel the temperature of the air, the weight of gravity, the pulse of the world beneath your feet. All of it is information, flowing toward you like a river without sound. When you are still, you begin to hear it, not as a voice, but as awareness. Every leaf, every microbial whisper is saying the same thing. We are here, and we are alive with you. The invisible is not distant. It is intimacy beyond perception. You let your awareness widen, like a lens opening to the faintest light. Beneath the threshold of hearing, the world vibrates constantly. Every living thing emits tiny oscillations, electrical, chemical, magnetic. Your body is tuned to them, though modern life has taught you to ignore the hum now. You remember, you feel the rhythm of your heartbeat sinking to unseen frequencies. You feel your breath aligning with the faint pulse of the Earth's magnetic field. That slow wave that circles the planet every few seconds, a global heartbeat known as the Schumann resonance. Your nervous system has always known it. It hums with the same wavelength, connecting you invisibly to the sky. Perhaps this is why silence feels sacred, because in it, you align again with everything that hums quietly beneath existence. You drift deeper into the stillness, and the world around you begins to glow with subtle motion. The air is not empty. It ripples with tiny particles, microbes floating in soft convection currents. Each one senses and responds, exchanging invisible signals through chemical traces. To them, your breath is a landscape. Your exhalation carries warmth and molecules that speak of who you are, how you feel, what you have eaten, how your cells are changing. The invisible world reads you the way you might read weather, and in return, it sends its response, balancing, guiding, sometimes healing. You begin to understand that you are not a static being, but a conversation made visible. You inhale the world, exhale yourself, and in that exchange, identity dissolves into relationship. Now, listen closer, not to words, but to movement. The invisible communicates in patterns. A chemical released here causes a change there. A cell in your gut signals another in your brain through the quiet traffic of molecules. Fungi in the soil whisper through their filaments to roots miles away. Bees sense the electric field of flowers before landing. Birds read magnetic lines they cannot see. Bacteria align their swimming with the rhythm of sunlight. Every life form listens in its own way. Every listening forms a bridge between beings. The universe is not a collection of parts. It is a continuous field of attention. Every atom aware of its neighbors. Every wave answering another wave. You rest in that awareness, now weightless. The air feels alive around you. You can almost feel the space between your molecules pulsing with faint replies. Perhaps this is what intuition is, your body's way of hearing the invisible. When you sense danger before it appears, it is not magic. Your cells are listening to the air, reading chemical changes, shifts in temperature, currents of sound too low to register consciously. When you feel drawn to another person's presence, it is because your microbes, your hormones, your electromagnetic fields are already in dialogue. You are always listening, always speaking, always part of this invisible communion. You simply forgot how to notice, but now, in this stillness, you remember. You feel the truth of it like a warm vibration behind your ribs. You close your eyes and imagine the invisible threads that connect you to everything else. They are not metaphors, they are real. They stretch from your skin into the world, linking you to the breath of trees, to the exhalations of whales, to the microbial clouds that travel the wind. Every exhale you release carries a part of your microbiome into the air. Billions of tiny emissaries floating outward, blending with others. This is how the earth exchanges information. This is how life maintains coherence through endless giving and receiving. You are a note in the great song of circulation. Even your silence is part of the melody, in the space between your thoughts. You begin to notice something even quieter. A pulse beneath the pulse, a stillness beneath the stillness. It is the awareness that watches you listen. It feels neither inside nor outside. It is both. This awareness does not belong to you, nor does it exclude you. It is the listening that all things share, the consciousness of matter itself. Perhaps this is what the invisible has been saying all along. That to be alive is to listen. To exist is to be in constant conversation with everything else. The world deepens into calm. Your breathing slows until it matches the quiet waves of the Schumann resonance again. The invisible and the visible become indistinguishable. You feel yourself dissolve, not disappearing, but expanding. Becoming the space between breaths, the awareness between thoughts, the field that connects one heartbeat to another. You are no longer listening to the invisible. You are listening as the invisible. For a moment, there is no boundary between your body and the air. The microbes in your lungs, the ones floating in the wind, the ones beneath your skin, they all hum together. It feels like peace. It feels like home. And then, from the center of that stillness, a question rises, gentle, clear, impossible to ignore. If life speaks in silence, how might we learn to answer, not with words, but with presence? The question lingers, soft as breath, guiding you toward the next unfolding. Toward the space where awareness meets connection, and connection begins to remember itself. The path leads onward. You rest inside yourself, feeling the slow pulse beneath your ribs, that rhythmic reminder that you are here, alive, in conversation with countless unseen companions. The stillness around you hums softly. Each breath is not an isolated act, but an invitation, a meeting of worlds. When you inhale, you draw in an unseen choir, the breath of trees, the dust of oceans, the invisible touch of other lives that mingle and reshape your own, inside your body. Another language unfolds, not through sound, but through presence. Your cells, tiny and luminous under the microscope of imagination, extend their membranes like hands. They reach out, whispering in chemicals and light, exchanging messages with the quiet precision of trust. A drop of sugar becomes a signal. A pulse of calcium becomes a song. A shift in acidity is understood like tone, a subtle rise, a soft reply. This is not chaos, it is chorus, and within it, every voice belongs. You imagine standing in a forest at night, the air dense with scent and stillness. Though silent, the forest hums with invisible talk, roots sharing water and nutrients, fungi threading beneath the soil, passing quiet notes between trees. One root sends a message of drought. Another responds with what it has stored. This is how the earth itself speaks, not with words, but with willingness. Your inner world works the same way. Your microbes, trillions of them, exchange messages with your cells, crafting harmony from diversity. They tell your immune system when to rest, when to wake. They teach your gut what peace feels like. Even your mood, your comfort, your sense of calm, they are shaped by their language, carried in neurotransmitters that ripple outward like ripples in still water. Connection, you realize, is not built by intention. It is inherited, remembered, sustained. Every morning of your life, the conversation begins anew. Microbes rise and fall in number with the light, adjusting their chemistry to match the sun. They know your rhythms as you know your breath. When you eat, they taste too. When you dream, they rest with you. Each species within you plays its role, yet none can live alone. Like notes in a symphony, meaning comes only when the whole plays together. In their language, there is no hierarchy, only exchange, an understanding that giving is a way of being. You drift deeper into that awareness, feeling your edges dissolve a little. Where do you end and they begin? Is the self a boundary or a meeting point? The microbes in your gut speak to your brain. Your neurons send replies back in kind. A molecule born in your intestine becomes a thought, a feeling, a sigh. Every emotion, every flicker of calm is shared across this network of life. This is not imagination, it is biology written as poetry. And you are both the reader and the poem. Sometimes, communication means silence. Just as the ocean speaks in tides, your inner systems communicate through rhythm, cycles of hunger and satiety, of wakefulness and rest. It is a choreography as ancient as the moon. Each fluctuation, each rise and fall holds a message. I am here. I am part. I belong. The microbes sense your stress before your mind does. When you are anxious, they shift their tone. Some retreat, some bloom, trying to keep balance. Your breath changes, your chemistry stirs, and their signals follow suit. You are, in this sense, co-regulating, tending one another in the invisible garden of the body. Your very existence is a conversation that began billions of years ago and has never stopped speaking. Pause here. Feel the pulse under your hand. Imagine it not as a solitary beat, but as the echo of a greater rhythm, one shared by oceans, trees, and stars. The hydrogen in your water was once part of a nebula. The carbon in your breath once belonged to another living form. Everything that enters you carries a memory of belonging. And when you exhale, you return it, reshaped, renewed, ready to join the cycle again. The language of connection is circular. It does not end. It loops through breath, through matter, through trust. You are not a single melody. You are a harmony composed of ancient notes played across time. Your bacteria speak to your immune cells. Your immune cells speak to your nervous system. Your nervous system listens and responds through hormones, impulses, and rest. Every function in your body, digestion, emotion, healing, arises from cooperation. Science calls this symbiosis. But in your heart, it feels more like friendship. Each of your cells carries tiny remnants of older beings, mitochondria. Once free-living microbes, now your loyal energy companions. They power your life, turning food into motion, silence into warmth. Their story is the oldest alliance on Earth, proof that survival is born from unity, not isolation. When you close your eyes, you can almost hear them, the quiet hum of belonging that has never ceased. Even your DNA bears traces of ancient microbial whispers, fragments of old conversations woven into your code. You are not separate from the world. You are its continuation, a living archive of cooperation, a vessel of shared history. Outside, night deepens. Somewhere, wind moves through the trees, carrying spores, pollen, invisible seeds. The same movement happens inside you, subtle currents, gentle exchanges, the drift of information that sustains balance. You are the weather of your own ecosystem, sometimes calm, sometimes stormy, but always alive. There is comfort in knowing that no thought, no breath, no heartbeat happens in isolation. Even in solitude, your body is a community in conversation. When you whisper into the dark, trillions of tiny listeners reply, not in sound, but in action. A shift in chemistry, a pulse of warmth, a quiet coordination. They hear you, they respond. Connection is not only survival, it is meaning. Every signal exchanged, every molecule shared, is an act of care. Your body does not wage war against itself. It seeks peace again and again. Even illness is a form of miscommunication, not malice. A note played too loud, too soft, too long. Healing, then, is not conquest. It is listening, restored. As you drift toward sleep, the symphony continues. Your microbes slow, recalibrate, tend to their maintenance. They repair what was strained, reinforce what was good. You to rest, you to heal. In the darkness, the dialogue deepens, cell to cell, breath to breath, and though you may not hear it, the message is constant and clear. You belong. You breathe out, and somewhere a leaf stirs. You breathe in, and the forest answers. The rhythm between you and the world is older than thought, older than language. It began the first time air touched skin, when oceans gave rise to breath. Every inhalation is a return to that ancient pact. You give, the world gives back. You exist together in a conversation too vast to be spoken, As you lie still, you begin to sense that the world is not silent. The soil beneath your feet hums with life, billions of tiny hearts pulsing in their own rhythm. When rain falls, it carries their messages from root to river, from moss to mountain. Even the stones, still and solid, are part of that quiet communication. They hold the memory of water, of pressure, of warmth. The microbes in the soil speak to the microbes in your skin, your breath, your gut. They trade molecules in invisible waves, forming an unseen bridge between you and the ground you walk on. When you touch a leaf, you are not only feeling it, it is feeling you too, sensing your warmth, your scent, your presence. And in that instant, the distinction between giver and receiver blurs. You are not a visitor here. You are part of the world's body. The air itself listens. Every breath you exhale carries carbon dioxide, and somewhere a tree drinks it in, making food and light out of what you release. It does not ask who you are. It only knows the rhythm. In the same breath, it gives back oxygen, a gift that finds its way into your bloodstream, into your cells, into the quiet hum of your mitochondria. The cycle continues, unbroken, sacred. You breathe the memory of forests, and the forests breathe your memory in return. You begin to understand. Reverence is not worship from afar, it is intimacy, lived quietly. When you listen, the world becomes tender. The wind outside your window is not just movement, it is migration of spores, seeds, bacteria, and stories. Invisible travelers float by, carrying whispers from deserts, mountains, oceans. When you inhale, you invite them in, ancient companions that may have touched coral reefs, whale songs, or the frost of distant peaks. They enter you not as strangers, but as fragments of the same whole, resuming their journey inside your lungs. The boundary between self and world dissolves, soft as mist. Every heartbeat sends molecules outward through breath, through warmth, through touch, small messages written in scent and chemistry. The air absorbs them, the soil transforms them, the plants remember them. Nothing is ever lost. It only changes shape. You turn your hand palm up, imagining the thin layer of microbes that coat your skin. They glisten in your mind's eye like starlight. When your fingers brush a petal, a railing, a page, you exchange. Entire communities, tiny migrants that shift homes effortlessly. It is not contamination. It is communion. The world listens through presence. When you walk, the earth measures your steps, not with eyes, but with pressure, vibration, the language of weight and movement. Every creature that walks, crawls, or drifts contributes to this chorus. The beetle beneath the soil, the mycelium threading beneath your feet, the unseen wings above your head, all are speaking, all are listening. If you quiet your mind enough, you can almost hear it, the whisper of roots finding one another, the murmur of air moving through grass, the subtle conversation between sunlight and chlorophyll. It is a prayer without words, and you are part of it. There is reverence in the way a bee lands on a flower, in how water bends to the pull of gravity, in how clouds gather and release. You watch, and something inside you remembers this patience, this generosity, this rhythm. It is the same rhythm that beats in your chest. It is the same intelligence that guides your breath and your microbes. Every system within you mirrors the planet. Your blood moves like rivers. Your lungs branch like trees. Your neurons spark like lightning, carrying information in flashes of energy. You are quite literally, a reflection of the world that made you. When the world listens back, it does not speak in sentences. It answers in sensation, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the scent of wet soil, the hush of rain. Each is a message of recognition. Each says, I know you. You recall how the earth once healed itself after storms, forests regrowing, coral reefs returning, rivers clearing after floods. Your body does the same, guided by the same principles of balance and renewal. When you rest, your microbiome restores its harmony. When you sleep, your cells clean, sort, rebuild, like gardeners tending to the inner soil. And as they work, the outer world does too. Night pollinators move through blossoms. Roots drink in moisture. Stars scatter their quiet light. It is all part of one breath, yours and the world's. Somewhere in the dark, an owl calls. You listen and realize the sound passes through layers of air shared by millions of living things. Every tone, every echo leaves a trace. The planet remembers every voice that has ever moved across it, human, animal, wind, wave. Its memory is not written in stone, but in pattern, in DNA, in rhythm, in the continuation of life. You are part of that memory too. Your breath is a line in the world's story. Your stillness is a verse in its song. There is a holiness in this simplicity. The understanding that nothing is ever truly separate. The reverence you feel is not for something distant, but for the closeness of everything. The microbes within you once lived in the sea. The salt in your tears comes from the same origin. The calcium in your bones was once the mineral shell of an ancient creature, and the warmth of your body is borrowed from the sun, passed through leaves, grain, and flame until it became yours. You do not stand apart from nature. You stand within it, and it within you. Every heartbeat, every breath is a conversation of trust. You imagine the earth leaning close now, like a friend resting beside you, its pulse steady and infinite. It listens not with ears, but with patience. And in that vast stillness, you feel understood. The world does not ask for perfection. It asks only that you notice the quiet miracle of being, the soft reciprocity of life and life. You whisper a thank you, not aloud, but inwardly, as one might bow without moving. And in response, the night deepens its calm. Wind hushes, clouds drift slower. The planet exhales around you, its great lungs rising and falling with your own in that moment. Reverence becomes not something you feel, but something you are. You belong not to the world, but with it. And in that togetherness, all noise fades. You lie still beneath the vast silence of night, and somewhere inside you, an ancient current begins to stir. It moves softly, not through words, but through vibration, like wind through grass. It is the sound of your cells remembering. Memory is not a filing cabinet. It is a river. Every cell carries traces of every journey your species has ever taken, from ocean to land, from starlight to thought. The hydrogen in your blood once swirled in a nebula. The iron in your veins was forged in the heart of a dying star. The calcium in your bones once shimmered inside coral reefs, dreaming of stillness beneath the waves. When you breathe, you awaken them all. Inside your lungs, microscopic alveoli open like blossoms, receiving air that has touched glaciers, forests, and deserts. Each breath is an act of remembrance, the reunion of ancient elements. The body remembers even what the mind has forgotten: the rhythm of tides, the scent of rain, the subtle balance of dark and light. Your DNA is a story written in 4 letters, A, T, C, G, yet within that simple alphabet lies the poetry of billions of years. Every heartbeat rereads it, every cell performs it, every breath edits and continues it. It is not a book of fixed past, but a living manuscript that rewrites itself with each new experience, perhaps. This is why certain sounds soothe you: the crash of waves, the hum of bees, the low thunder that echoes through valleys. They are familiar because your body recognizes them. They are frequencies from your origin, echoes of the first world you knew. Even your sleep is older than your consciousness. Long before there were humans, the earliest organisms rested in rhythmic cycles: light and dark, activity and pause. Your circadian rhythm is the echo of planetary rotation, a memory written by Earth's turning. When you close your eyes, your neurons drift into patterns that mirror the movements of galaxies, electrical storms flashing in silence, reorganizing meaning, cleaning and sorting like tides. Dreams are not random. They are conversations between your present self and your ancient inheritance. And if you listen closely, you can feel it now, the faint whisper of that inheritance flowing through you, like wind tracing the outline of a mountain somewhere deep within. Mitochondria burn energy in slow pulses, converting sunlight's history into warmth. They are the descendants of bacteria that once lived freely in primordial oceans, symbionts who chose cooperation over isolation. Their decision became you. In every heartbeat, their quiet industry continues, whispering the wisdom of unity. The body remembers generosity. Your heart knows how to expand and contract, never hoarding its rhythm, always sharing it. Your lungs give and receive without calculation. Your blood delivers oxygen, takes away waste, balances everything with quiet fairness. The body practices compassion long before the mind names it. Sometimes, when you feel a sudden peace for no reason, it may be that your cells are recalling the calm of ancient seas, the cradle of equilibrium from which all life emerged. Their salt content still matches that ocean, as if refusing to forget. You are not merely carrying the past, you are made of it. Every thought you form, every movement you make, extends a chain of memory billions of years long. Look at your hands. Their dexterity is the memory of survival, of crafting tools, of reaching for light. Your eyes, attuned to subtle changes in color and shadow, are the legacy of hunters, gatherers, dreamers who once read the language of landscapes. Even the shape of your spine remembers the shift from crawling to standing, a geological transformation within flesh. But the deepest memories are not visible. They hum below awareness, guiding instinct, emotion, intuition. The calm that settles over you in forests, the awe that rises before mountains, the ache you feel when watching the stars, all are the echoes of the first beings who looked up and wondered. That wonder never ended. It only changed form. The universe remembers itself through you. Your awareness is its mirror, polished by time. When you contemplate the cosmos, it is the cosmos recognizing its own reflection. Memory, then, is not a backward glance, it is a bridge. It connects what has been to what is becoming. Your breath crosses that bridge with every inhalation, and perhaps, if you listen carefully enough, you can sense the collective heartbeat of all who came before you, not as noise, but as a deep, harmonic tone beneath the surface of silence. The world itself remembers, too. Trees keep records in rings. Glaciers hold millennia in ice. Coral stores centuries in limestone spirals. Even starlight carries memory, traveling through space for millions of years before touching your eye. When you gaze at the night sky, you are not looking outward but backward, into the oldest archives of existence. And yet, in this vast archive, your single heartbeat matters. It completes the pattern, adds one more thread to the web of time. Memory is a circle, not a line. Everything you experience returns in new form, an echo, a pattern, a rhythm reborn. Your kindness becomes soil for another's calm. Your breath becomes wind for another's wings. In this understanding, peace arises naturally, not as something to chase, but as something remembered. You remember how to be still, because stillness was the universe's first act. You remember how to expand, because stars once did the same. You remember how to return, because everything that lives eventually circles home. So when the world feels too loud, you can close your eyes and recall the slower pulse beneath it, the cellular prayer that has never stopped repeating, I am, I am, I am. That is the true whisper of memory, the affirmation of being. You exist. And in that existence, the entire past finds meaning. The stars are not behind you. They are within you. The ocean is not gone. It flows in your veins. The dawns of 1,000 worlds rise and set in the chemistry of your breath. You are the earth remembering itself through a human shape. You are the universe realizing it can feel. And as you drift toward rest, you do not lose awareness. You merge with it. Sleep becomes a return to the great remembering, where thought dissolves back into rhythm, where cells dream in silence. You imagine the ancient sea cradling you again, rocking you in its timeless lullaby. The salt on your skin glows faintly in moonlight, like starlight come home. Somewhere the universe smiles, not with lips, but with warmth, with gravity, with continuity. And in that infinite tenderness, you fall into sleep, not forgetting, but remembering everything. You open your eyes, and light enters gently, not as a flash, but as a slow, golden unfolding. It brushes the corners of your awareness, warming the boundary between dream and waking. In this fragile moment between night and day, something ancient stirs inside you, a quiet realization. You are not just touched by light, you are made of it. The photons that fall upon your skin now are cousins of the same particles that were released billions of years ago in the first breath of the universe. They travel across unimaginable distances through emptiness and silence, carrying the memory of stars. When they touch you, they do not merely illuminate. They converse with your atoms, reminding them where they came from. Your skin receives them as a language older than words. The molecules of melanin, arranged like tiny shields, capture the sun's song and translate it into warmth. Inside you, the light becomes rhythm, pulse, and energy, a whisper to your cells. Wake, grow, renew. This translation of sunlight into life is not a metaphor. It is biology, the chemistry of radiance. Inside your cells, A molecule named cytochrome C oxidase absorbs the light's energy and whispers it into the mitochondrial dance. Your mitochondria, those tiny symbionts of ancient origin, respond with quiet devotion, spinning that gift into vitality, into motion, into being. The process feels invisible, yet its echo fills everything you do, every breath, every heartbeat, every blink of awareness. You are sunlight slowed into form. You are what starlight becomes when it dreams of knowing itself, even the rhythm of your sleep and waking. Your circadian rhythm is guided by this celestial choreography. Inside your brain, in a small, sacred cluster called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, light writes time upon your biology. It tells your body when to rise, when to rest, when to dream. It is a soft clock made of brightness and shadow, but light is more than a signal, it is nourishment. When sunlight touches your skin, it begins the creation of vitamin D, a quiet alchemy that strengthens bones, soothes inflammation, and guides the immune system like a compass of health. The body recognizes this as a reunion, a dialogue between cosmos and cell. And yet, light is not only received through the skin, it passes through your eyes, not just to help you see the world, but to synchronize you with it. When photons touch the retina, they do not simply create images. They send messages to your inner clock, to your hormones, to your emotional tides. Light sculpts your mood as surely as it paints the sky. You may not always notice it, but the morning sun carries a different tone, a bluer, awakening hue that whispers alertness to your brain. The golden evening light, lower and softer, tells your body to begin the descent toward rest. Each shade is a language, and your body is fluent in it. You are not separate from this conversation. You are part of it. The sun does not shine on you. It shines through you, translated into thought, warmth, emotion. You, in turn, shine back in your own way through kindness, curiosity, creativity. Every loving act, every spark of understanding, every gentle word, all are forms of light returned to the universe. And still, there is another layer, quieter but deeper. Your inner light, the biophoton's tiny, ultrawake pulses of light emitted by living cells, flicker within you even now. Science measures them faintly, as if catching the breath of stars within flesh. These luminous whispers may help your cells communicate, aligning growth, healing, and awareness. You are glowing always, though too softly for your eyes to see. When you close your eyes, that inner light continues to shimmer. It travels in your bloodstream, dances in your neurons, sings in your DNA. You are a galaxy in miniature, each cell a star in a vast internal cosmos. If you could travel inward, past the skin, through the soft tissue, beyond the blood, you would enter a cathedral of radiance. There, every photon pulses like prayer, every molecule hums like a choir. The body is not darkness lit by light, it is light slowed into matter, sustained by its own quiet brilliance. And perhaps that is what awareness is, light noticing itself. When you feel clarity, that sudden stillness of understanding, it is not your mind inventing truth. It is your inner light aligning with outer light, two frequencies resonating in harmony. Insight is illumination, quite literally. You breathe it in as warmth and breathe it out as understanding. The cycle is endless, light to life, life to light. When a plant reaches toward the sun, It is remembering what you, too, have always known. Growth is the instinct of illumination. You are both the observer and the observed beam. You stand between the stars and the soil, translating their dialogue into the poetry of existence. Sometimes, when you feel hope for no reason, it may be because your cells are resonating with light, sensing its order, its optimism, its promise that darkness is only a pause in radiance. Even in shadow, photons whisper, scattering and reflecting. There is no true emptiness. There is only variation in brightness. The same is true for the mind. Moments of confusion, sadness, or fatigue are not absences of light. They are its refractions, slowed and waiting to realign. The mind, like the sky, clears itself when stillness returns. You feel that stillness now. A golden calm settles over your awareness, neither forced nor fragile, just a quiet presence. You sense the pulse of photons across your skin, the gentle hum of mitochondria answering, the silent glow between each breath. The light within you and the light beyond you are not separate, they are continuous. One vast stream, divided only by perception. Even the space between your atoms glows faintly, a residue of the universe's first ignition. To become light is not to dissolve, it is to remember what you already are. You are made of the same radiance that kindled galaxies, warmed oceans, and wrote the story of life upon Earth's face. You are light, given patience, given pulse, given heart, and as you drift once more toward sleep, you feel the boundary between yourself and the cosmos soften. There is no distance between the light outside your window and the light that stirs beneath your ribs. They are one and the same, flowing through you like breath, like song. Even when darkness comes, it is not absence, it is balance. Stars need the night to be seen. Rest is the body's shadowed form of shining, so you let go. You become less solid, more luminous, your thoughts dissolving into gentle waves of brightness. Your breath slows to match the rhythm of light itself, slow, patient, eternal. You are not falling asleep. You are returning to radiance, to the same glow that first kindled the universe, to the warmth that calls every atom home, and somewhere beyond words. You sense. You breathe in. The air feels different now, not calm, not still, but alive. There is a pulse beneath the quiet, a subtle vibration that does not settle. You realize that even within the most peaceful silence, something is always moving, always adjusting. The universe, for all its beauty, was never meant to be still. It expands, fluctuates, rearranges. Galaxies spin. Stars are born and die in explosions of light. Atoms collide and reform. Even the space between things trembles with quantum uncertainty, the faint hum of existence rewriting itself, moment by moment. And you, too, are part of that trembling. Your heartbeat, your breath, your thoughts, they rise and fall like waves, never truly repeating, never truly predictable. Chaos, it turns out, is not the enemy of life. It is life's secret rhythm. Inside your chest, your heart beats with what scientists call chaotic variability, a pattern that never exactly repeats, yet stays within a beautiful, flexible range. If your heartbeat became too rigid, it would signal distress. If it became too erratic, it would fall into danger. Life thrives not in perfect order, but in the subtle sway between order and disorder, a gentle unpredictability that allows adaptation, creativity, and growth. Your breath follows this same rule. It changes slightly with emotion, with thought, with the rise and fall of feeling. This is your body's way of staying alive to the moment, adjusting, improvising, listening. In nature, everything that lives finds strength in this balance. The branches of trees do not grow in perfect symmetry. They twist, seeking light. River currents do not flow in straight lines. They meander, carve, and reshape the land. Even clouds, those drifting cathedrals of air, form through chaos, through the random collisions of invisible molecules. This apparent disorder is not failure. It is freedom. It allows creation to unfold without a script. You imagine the surface of the sun, a roiling, restless sea of plasma, full of unpredictable flares and flows. Yet from this fiery chaos comes the steady light that warms your world, that nourishes every leaf and breath. The universe is wild, but it is generous, and deep inside you, the same wild generosity exists. Every second, your cells engage in millions of chemical reactions, swirling with chance and spontaneity. Molecules bump into one another, form new bonds, dissolve again. Your entire metabolism depends on this dance of randomness, the precise yet unpredictable ballet of atoms, finding their way toward balance in chaos theory. Scientists speak of something called the strange attractor. It is a pattern that emerges within apparent disorder, a hidden harmony that keeps chaos from becoming destruction. It's like wind swirling around a canyon, never still, yet always contained. You are not here to control the chaos, only to trust it. Just as a tree trusts the wind to scatter its seeds, you trust uncertainty to carry you toward growth. Sometimes, when life feels unpredictable, when plans dissolve or paths shift, it can seem as though everything is breaking apart. But often, this is not destruction, it is rearrangement. The same principle that drives galaxies also drives healing and transformation. Entropy, the natural tendency toward disorder, is not the enemy of creation. It is its companion, ensuring that nothing stays stagnant, that every system finds renewal through change. In this moment, you can feel that principle working within you. Each breath you take releases the old and welcomes the new. Each heartbeat resets your internal rhythm, improvising, adapting, keeping you alive. Even your thoughts, those flickering, shifting waves, are forms of entropy seeking balance. When you allow them to flow, they eventually settle into stillness on their own. The mind, like the sea, clears when it is not forced to stop moving. You think of the patterns on butterfly wings, complex, fractal, formed through minute chaotic differences in temperature and pressure during development. If those fluctuations were removed, every butterfly would look the same. Chaos ensures diversity. It ensures beauty. It ensures life's constant surprise. So, when you look at the world, at its unpredictability, its storms, its heartbreak, you can also see it as a kind of cosmic choreography, the wild dance that keeps existence alive. Even the most turbulent storms, on a deeper scale, serve balance. You begin to understand peace is not the absence of chaos. Peace is learning to move with it. As you rest, you feel this truth settling through you like warm light through water. Your pulse slows but remains irregular, beautifully imperfect. Your breath deepens, never exactly the same. You are not a static being. You are a flow, a current between order and freedom. The philosopher Heraclitus once said, "The hidden harmony is better than the obvious one." You sense this now, the quiet music beneath uncertainty. The body, the earth, the stars, all singing one continuous hymn of change. And so, you let go. You let the world be as it is, unpredictable, shimmering, alive. You release your need to control its currents, and instead float within them, trusting that even when you cannot see the pattern, it is there, in the dark quiet. You imagine the galaxies spinning vast spirals of stars, each held by gravity, yet free to move. They never collide exactly the same way, yet they create beauty in every motion. This, you realize, is how your own life unfolds, improvised, imperfect, magnificent. Even in sleep, your body follows the same rule, gentle chaos. Dreams wander unpredictably, crossing boundaries of memory and imagination. Through that wandering, your brain restores itself, reorganizes experience, renews balance. Rest is the art of letting chaos do its quiet work, and as you drift now toward that rest, you feel comfort in knowing that nothing needs to be perfectly ordered. The universe never demanded perfection, only participation. You belong to this vast, creative uncertainty, not as a mistake, but as an expression of its grace. You are both the pattern and the wildness, the symmetry and the storm. You are balance embodied, and in the rhythm of your breathing, the universe hears itself again, expanding, contracting, forever becoming. You float in stillness. The rhythm of your breath has slowed to the pulse of the universe, patient, vast, and gentle. It feels as though you are suspended in space, surrounded not by emptiness, but by a quiet, living web. At first, it is subtle, a hum, a whisper, a presence too delicate to name. Then you feel it more clearly, a soft gravity that does not pull but holds. Something unseen connects you to everything else, from the distant stars to the smallest grain of dust resting in your palm. It is not a thread you can see, yet you can sense it everywhere. This is the great secret of existence, connection. For all the distances between things, nothing in the universe truly stands alone. Gravity was the first thread, the invisible hand that gathered chaos into stars, stars into galaxies, galaxies into clusters, until even space itself learned to weave. Each atom in your body owes its existence to this patient force, this cosmic stitching that prevents the universe from unraveling into silence. Every cell within you feels its echo. Your blood flows downward because of it. Your spine aligns because of it. Your feet touch the earth because of it. You are anchored by the same law that binds the moons to planets and planets to suns. What holds the galaxies together also holds you. And yet, gravity is only one of the threads. There are others, finer, quieter, but no less real. There is the thread of electromagnetism, that delicate conversation between particles that creates color, warmth, light, and thought. Without it, atoms could not bond, nerves could not spark, hearts could not beat. Every emotion you feel, love, sorrow, wonder, travels along these currents. The warmth of a touch, the light in a glance, all are electric whispers of connection. Then there are the biological threads, the shared patterns written into every living thing, the code of DNA for letters repeating in endless poetry links you to the grass beneath your feet, to the whale beneath the ocean, to the bird that crosses a distant horizon. Different forms, different songs, yet all part of one story, told in variations of the same alphabet. You breathe, and oxygen enters, a gift from the green world. You exhale, and carbon dioxide leaves nourishment for the trees. This exchange, so simple and constant, is a dialogue between species, a thread woven through the air itself. You have never taken a breath alone. The world is full of these invisible handshakes. The mycelium beneath forests, networks of fungal filaments, connect tree to tree, sharing nutrients and warnings. When one tree is thirsty, another sends water. When one is attacked, others prepare. They communicate in silence, through threads older than memory, and so do you. The neurons in your brain mirror the patterns of those fungal networks, as if the forest and the mind share a common blueprint. Connection repeats itself across scales, from the cosmic to the cellular, from the starfield to the synapse. Science calls it emergence, the phenomenon where individual parts, through connection, create something greater than themselves. A single neuron cannot think, but billions. You sense that now, as your awareness expands outward. You imagine the earth beneath you, continents turning softly under clouds, oceans shimmering like breath. Each wave touches another, transferring energy, motion, life. Every heartbeat on this planet contributes to a rhythm larger than any individual. Even silence, in truth, is full of connection. When you listen deeply enough, you hear the hum of distant electricity, the faint pulse of the planet's magnetic field, the vibration of air molecules. Stillness is not absence, it is fullness, too vast to measure. And what of consciousness, that mysterious light within awareness? Perhaps it, too, is a thread, an energy shared between minds, flickering like candle flames across generations. Your thoughts ripple outward, affecting those you meet, shaping moments you'll never witness. Kindness, once released, continues, its echoes invisible but unbroken. Love, in this way, is the most subtle force of all, a human form of gravity. It draws lives together, bends time and memory, reshapes everything it touches. Love is not metaphorical light. It is measurable energy. It alters hormones, strengthens immunity, even changes gene expression. Science records its chemistry, but cannot contain its mystery. Love is the thread that binds body to spirit, self to universe. You begin to see it everywhere now, not as something rare, but as something constant. Between atoms, attraction. Between planets, gravity. Between hearts, empathy. Between all things, resonance. The ancient Greeks called it sympathia. The belief that all parts of the cosmos vibrate together, so that when one thing moves, all others respond. It is the physics of compassion, the universe's way of reminding itself that it is one dot in the quantum realm. Even particles separated by light years can remain entangled, their states intertwined beyond distance or time. Change one, and the other responds instantly. No one fully understands how, only that connection is fundamental, deeper than space itself. You, too, are part of that entanglement. When you feel empathy for another, when you sense peace in someone's presence,